Scrolling through my feed, what do I see? All my hard work, where's the loyalty? You enjoy my vibes, my laughter, my grind, but when it comes to cash, I'm left behind.
I'm pouring out my heart, sharing every dream, but bills gotta get paid or so it seems. Don't take me lightly, I'm not just a laugh. Show some respect, let's do the math.
Pay me on Patreon or I'll beat you up. I'm just a click away, so fill my cup. Support the vibe, let's make it real. Pay me on Patreon, let's seal the deal. Pay me on Patreon, I'm calling your bluff. Just one little pledge, it ain't that tough.
So yeah, because of that, and because we're taking out a loan on the equity of the house, we're probably not going to be doing the HR bus and stuff the way we had been looking forward to and planning. That may end up having to be put back a couple of years, which is probably maybe for the best. Hopefully the world settles down by then. Hopefully money's a little bit more stable by then. I don't know. That's what we're hoping. Um, I mean, who knows, right? So there's that, which is, it is what it is. And then we will be traveling. The plan right now, and it's all going to depend on how everything happens with that, with the construction on the house and the repairs and stuff. Our plan is to, in early August, head to Disney World. So we're excited about that. Really want to share all of that with the kids. And I personally really want to go to, was it Galaxy's Edge? I am dying to get me a Disney Star Wars fix. So that'll be cool. What else? That's about it. Let me see what Joe is doing. He's not online anymore. So I wanted to talk about what's happening in LA, and I just don't want to. If I wanted to just speak at the camera and not have any like dialogue or anything with anybody, I would just might as well make a video somewhere. And that way, I could have clear, concise thoughts and have um, so do that unless there's somebody here. I don't want to have that conversation unless there's somebody here, because otherwise, it's just I'd be better off making a video. Um, Something else too. I got um, videos like I just made the two different intros that I played on tonight's episode. One I made specifically for tonight. That was the "We Are Los Angeles" chant, um, and the other one was the Patreon video, which I released as an actual video all on its own. It's just over a minute long. Um, I, I, I posted that on YouTube today. Um, I thought it was fun. It's fun, right? You know, give me money on Patreon or I'll beat you up. It's fun. It's goofy. Um, but it's out there now, so that's cool. So go ahead and become a patron. And I also have, I've got, Jesus, I've got one, two, three, I've got three videos in the works right now. Um, I get three in the works. Two of them actually have video elements already down on Sony Vegas. Um, and there's another one, like a fourth one, that's just kind of just brewing around in my head. There's one I was supposed to film at work, and I actually got permission from the principal to record in the school, as long as I don't get any students in the shot, which was fine. I didn't want to record any students. I just wanted to get myself probably like by the lockers and that kind of a thing. Um, but now that principal has had, she's no longer, she's out on maternity leave. So in between me asking her, and now she had a baby. So I don't know if I'm gonna have a hard time if I decide to start filming at school, come like Tuesday or Wednesday or something. So, but we'll see. And there's, like I said, there's another video that's brewing in my head. And I'm reluctant to. So there's like a couple of things that are happening. Like the trans athlete thing is a never dying subject. You know what I mean? It's evergreen. It's always fresh. It's always a hot topic for some fucking reason. I may end up making a video about that. That's kind of like stewing in my mind. And then there's a uh, TikToker, I guess, an influencer. Was it Lily Tino? Um, who I honestly I cannot stand. Lily Tino. And I like mulling over the possibility of making a video about um it's just yeah. Yeah, there's just so much weirdness about that person. But anyway, again, it's not something I'm like married to. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. And I got a message from Joe. He'll be here in a couple of minutes, so that'll be cool. Get some of the pressure off me here. The light is so harsh in here. Hang on a second. And the keyboard drawer on my desk is all fucked up, which sucks. This is like a brand new desk. It's gonna come right off. I can feel it. I won't leave anything alone. All right, we'll see. I
Hello. I can't hear you. No, I don't hear you at all. I mean, just a little scratchy, but that's about it.
Is that better, Joe?
That's better.
Okay, that's good. It's possible I've been over here squawking for the last half hour and nobody heard me.
Well, that's probably true.
Um, well, that's good because I didn't really have a whole lot to say anyway.
Okay.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I was saying was, wow, why is that still like that? Hang on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Um, One of the things that I was saying was I didn't want to just sit here and talk about the topic that I wanted to talk about tonight unless somebody was in here to discuss it with, because
Hmm.
otherwise, then I should have just made a video,
Right, right, right.
rather than talking to myself. Um, but it doesn't matter because even now I was just talking to myself because nobody heard me.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I was
How are
just
you, Joe?
watching the Mets game. I'm tired and pissed off.
Yeah, well, that's all of us. So I was actually went through this whole big long thing about we've had like our bathroom ceiling collapsed.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So we're like going through the process of getting like a home equity loan um and I am waiting any minute now, I think. Um Waiting on an estimate from a contractor. We had two different guys come in. First guy, right? He seemed really motivated. He was recommended by my neighbor, who is a contractor, who is very busy. I would have asked him to do it, but he's just really busy. So I asked if he knew anybody. He's like, yeah, I got this guy, and here, I'll give you his contact info. So he gave me the guy's contact info. He let the guy know that I was going to contact him. That's great. The guy came over right away to take a look at what we needed, because we have a hole in the house.
Mm.
That's an issue. And so while we're like walking around the house and showing them things that need to get done, and the list of what we need done is just getting longer and longer. Um, and he at one point just starts asking inappropriate questions, like asking about what surgeries I have had and have not. Yeah, he was asking if I had a penis. And then he asked about Peach and I, and he asked about our sex life, and we're like, "Whoa, dude, this is way inappropriate, dude."
Yeah.
So anyway, we end up wrapping up the meeting with him, and he wrote down everything that he needed to write down as far as like writing up an estimate and everything. Um, and we discussed that the only way that we were going to be able to pay for it was if we took out a home equity loan. Um, so we started the process with that, and when we got the number from the bank, how much we could borrow, um, we called him back and said, now we're going to need you to come and price everything out so we can prioritize, what needs to be done, what the needs are and what the wants are, And
Right.
he's like, yeah, okay, fine. I'll come Friday. How much did they approve you for?
Ah, yeah. No, that's
Ah,
easy.
yeah.
No.
Right? No, 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 no. No, you will go over the pricing so we can prioritize. So he was supposed to come over last Friday. Never showed up.
Mm.
Never showed up. So we got another guy during the week. I don't remember what day it was, Monday or Tuesday, I guess. Um, and he came. We, same thing. We showed him what we needed, and told him that there were other things that we may also need. But we may end up calling. So, like, we have the water that comes in through the basement.
Mm.
And initially we were going to go through that with him, but then it was like, you know what? Let's see if we can find somebody that specializes in that, like a
Right.
basement waterproofer, and we'll get make that a whole separate thing. Um, but still, there's stuff that we asked this guy to do that is wants, and then there's the needs. So he's supposed to be sending me estimates with everything broken down. Like if we get this and this together, it'll cost this. If we get it separate, it'll cost that. And so
Mm.
supposed to be like a really in-depth estimate. Um, and right before I went live, I got a message from him saying, "Hey, give me your email." So I'm
Mm.
waiting for that to pop in so I can
You have
forward
plunged.
it to Peach, and then we can look at it. Yeah.
You have plunged into darkness.
Oh, I know, because I changed my screen. Sorry. Into darkness, like Star Trek.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, quite frankly, you were a lot nicer to that first guy than I would have been, because the instant he started asking me inappropriate questions, I'd be like, dude, you are way out of bounds. Get the fuck out of my house.
He was way out of it. Peach just looked at me like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "We like so desperately need the work done." And I was just like, you know,
Yeah.
if I need to kick him back into bounds, I'll do that. But I'd rather have the work done than have somebody walk out. But then the motherfucker never came back, and it's just like, oh, come on, man.
Well, quite frankly, I tell you, I think it's a blessing.
Yeah, I know, me too. I sat and I thought on it. And I'm like, it really is for the best. Especially when he asked about how much the loan was, and it's just like, none of your goddamn business. He
No,
did
no.
some good advice
And it's
though.
like how much of that can I eat up just by padding the
Yeah,
bill? Yeah.
exactly. It's like, oh, you're getting 20,000? Hilarious. The job's gonna be 20,000, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Right.
Um, but yeah, he did give us some advice though. He's like, take out enough money to go on vacation. If you're gonna do it, you might as well do it. And it's like, that's actually a good idea. So we're
Well,
planning on going to Disney. So
nice. Well, one of the things, I don't, the guy that's going to be doing our kitchen and dining room, I don't know if he goes up that far, but I'll find out because he's very reasonable. He does great work.
yeah,
He's not a scam artist, and he's not going to ask you about your penis or the lack thereof.
or lack thereof. Yeah. I mean, it's just
I
I
mean
was just like,
I
I,
mean, this didn't even happen to me, and I mean, I was already in a bad mood. But now I'm fucking torqued, man. Yeah, I wouldn't buy. Yeah, that's the thing. When it comes to vendors of any kind, I I have a very. They're all on a very short leash,
yeah.
and all it takes is anyone who disrespects me, anyone who tries to sell me, because you can tell there's a difference. Some people are there to help you, some people are there to sell you,
You know,
and
the guy that we got now that we're expecting the email from any minute. Hi, Dana. Hopefully any minute. He didn't try to push anything on us. We talked about, like we asked about getting the tub pulled out and replacing it with a shower.
right,
And he's just like, if you do that, you might want to do the floor. He goes to think about it. And he's just gonna, and it's like, you know what? You're right. And there was no hard sell. It was like, do you want to do this? I think it's a good idea.
right.
It's like, no, well, that's valid.
And that's how I am. I mean, because I mean, I got to go on sales calls. I got to like tell people what they need and everything. And I'm always giving people options. Right? It's like, well, you could do this or you could do that. It's your
Right.
choice, your money. Or like, here's what you should do, but we could do it in this other way that in the long run will cost more, but it'll spread the pain out so that you don't have to put it all at once. So, but and I also the other thing when I try to do stuff, I hate having a dead. I hate something that's a dead loss. I hate installing something temporarily that's going to just get thrown away later. So
Right.
I try to find ways like, okay, how do we maximize? How do we get you on the right path that gets you where you need to go, where we don't waste any money because that's just wasted money. You got to put about a little more than you think than you'd like to do right now, but at least long run you're in good shape. I
Like
actually,
that.
I was actually down in Maple Shade today. A client, it's a site that I used to have with the previous owner of the site, and it's been sold twice since. And the new owners, they reached out to us several months ago, and now I'm not finally there doing an evaluation on what's there. Most of the stuff needs to be replaced. It's old. The stuff we put in is still good, but well, some of it is some of it because like the PCs are like from the night from like 2018. 7-year-old computers are ancient. They're dinosaurs.
Right.
Um, but you know, but yeah, it wasn't a bad day. It was just a long day. I'm really tired, and it's hot.
It's
And
hot.
then I met up with a friend for dinner on the way home,
Nice.
and so I'm telling her about last weekend. I think I told you I wasn't around. I went to an alumni weekend, which was really good, except it had a kind of a not great ending. When a friend of mine got really drunk and she fell down, and and then she was like, and I was, and the thing is, at first, so they went and got campus police to try to help out, and then they brought an ambulance. At first, she didn't want to go, and I was like, well, we could probably get her home because she was going to take an Uber home. But then I'm looking at her trying to walk, and I'm like, she lives here. She's right now. She's visiting up here, and she's staying with her mom, and her mom's like a third story walk up, plus a porch. And I'm like, oh, there's no fucking way that she's gonna make it up 3.5 flights of stairs in the condition she's at now. So I was like, I convinced her to go to the hospital. She was okay, but she got some sleep. She slept it off, and then went home. So I was telling, but and look, my friend has a problem, right? She has a problem. So I'm telling my other friend this, and these other friends. She's a cynic. She's a real flat out cynic, and you
Your
know,
post was
it's
about earlier.
yeah. There you saw the
Yeah.
post. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw
it's
the
one.
post.
Yeah, it's one thing to be. Look, there's a lot of bad shit in life, right? We got to be aware of it. Don't be Pollyanna. Don't ignore it. Don't
Mhm.
pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
But some people look for it. You know what I mean? There's like, look, trouble's gonna find you, man. Don't fucking look for it. And it's like, and her thing was just like, yeah, mind you, this person has had substance issues themselves, and it's like, well, she's an adult and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, and now and whatever. I know she's like that, so whatever. But then what really was the kicker at the end, because I was saying that I was going to try to like look into something because I said there should be some. I wish there was something like Ozempic for people who have alcohol problems. She's like, well, there is. There's this stuff that makes you ill if you drink alcohol. I'm like, oh, cool, and then she's like, well, she knows about it. I'm like, I didn't know about it. I'm 56. I didn't know about the shit. So maybe not everybody knows about it just because you know about
Right.
it. But again,
Yeah.
she's cynical, and then whatever, blah blah blah, and then she ended up with good luck with that, and it was like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and I ended up like I was gonna hang out with her longer, but I was like, because it's so fucking dismissive and disrespectful, and I didn't. I wanted to say fuck you, but I didn't. But I kind of feel like telling her fuck you, because I'm like, you know what, you can think whatever you want about other people that you don't know, but if you when you say that, that's just flippant and dismissive and everything. Like, what, go fuck yourself, And this is somebody I've helped a lot over the years that got their own problems, and I'm like, don't, and again, and I'm tired of it. I'm just fucking tired of it. I'm tired of cynicism. There's enough bullshit going on in the world without just like looking for ways to just be ornery, and I can't stand it. I mean, quite frankly, if I were to adopt the cynicism of other people the way they are, I would fucking kill myself. I would.
So in a similar vein, I've been like annoyed for the past 2 days with um what's her name? Violet Rain,
Hmm. I'm not
with the
familiar.
comment about the American Empire. Like
Oh,
I am so sick of people that live in other countries criticizing the United States about something their own country fucking does.
right, 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 right.
You
Yeah,
know,
especially especially the Brits. I'm like, dude, if the U.S. were to emulate all the shit the Brits have done in the last millennia, the world would be a meter deep in blood.
right? I mean, it's just well, and like she lives in New Zealand. She's a
Yeah.
Kiwi, and it's like which you want to immigrate to New Zealand? Yeah, good luck with that,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
That ain't happening. That ain't happening. That their immigration is extremely strict, very tight. You got a better chance of sneaking into LA right now. You know,
Right, right.
I
And
mean, it
that's
just you're not going to no, you're not going to go to New Zealand. Number one, and number two, if you do, they're going to deport you.
right, right. Well, that's the thing, and it's kind of funny because it's like, yeah, okay, they didn't wipe out their indigenous people, and they've learned to integrate with them. Like, yeah, those are the only brown people in your country, are the people that fucking were born there, that
Yeah.
were there before you guys got there.
Now, I mean, New Zealand is, um, from what I understand, a utopia. But if you're not there, you're not going to experience it unless it's vacation. That's
Right.
it.
Well, it's just like Canadians. Canada has everything. It's like, oh, they're so nice, and they don't do blunder in the way America does. Other than Vietnam, they've been every single fucking place we've been in the last 75 years.
Yeah.
Actually, 85 years, excuse me. So, but they don't get any flack for it. But they've
Well,
been
I
in
don't know.
every stupid fucking thing we've done, other than Vietnam. They were right next to
They were
us.
right with us. I know. Well, I told this one, and then you saw, right? I was just like, because you said that it was a stupid statement, and I echoed that. I said that really
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
stupid statement. And she's like, the American empire has to end. And it's like, that am I happy with the empirical nature of my country? No. Does it need to change? Yes. To say the American empire needs to end, do you know what kind of chaos that would unleash on the world? Do you like
Well,
what like
well,
the
also,
like what
well, it's an incorrect statement anyway. United States of America is not imperial. We are hegemonic. There's a difference. I'm not saying that's good, but it's a fact. It's different.
so but it's just like, saying, oh yeah, your country needs to end. Now it just needs to end. Really? I served my country. I love my country. Does it have some problems? Oh yeah, has a lot of them right now. You know, a lot more than I would like. I mean, yeah. In truth, it's a fucking mess. Do I want it to end? Well, the mess, sure,
Sure, sure.
but the country, no,
No, but
of
I mean,
course not.
again, they can make
I
it.
don't understand when somebody says something like that to an American. What do they think the response is going to be? Oh man, you're right. Maybe the whole thing will just implode
Well,
tomorrow.
and unfortunately, people on what's the far left in our country do act like that, and it's like, well, there's and they're assholes too. It's like, no, make this shit better. And the thing, especially leftists, right? You want this leftist utopia? Well, you
Make
want
it.
it here, right? Well, then you need to change here to get to where you want to be.
Yep.
But and of course, they never want to do the fucking work. They want to protest, and then you think, you know what? If you had showed up and voted back in November, you wouldn't need the goddamn protests. And that's why I every time it's brought up about the pro-Trump voters, and people are, oh, they did, yeah, and you know what, if you vote, if you didn't, you're just as bad, because this is math. It's fucking math. If one the Democrat's going to win or the Republicans going to win, I'm sorry, you can convince yourself that it's going to be some whack off third party. It's not going to be, because we live in a fucking real world. And the thing is, it could be a whack off. Well, actually, if those whack off third parties would actually do the work, the groundwork, and build the fucking party instead of running for vanity candidates every 4 years.
Because I played this at the very beginning before.
Right.
Hang on. Gotta fast forward a bit. And yeah, Peach pointed out that I misspelled kerfuffle. I'm like, you know what? I'm using it once. Screw it.
Yeah. I like it.
Look at that, huh?
I love it. And that's like, and what bothers me the most is with the criticism when we get, there's plenty of fair criticism, and that's the thing. It's when people just make shit up to be pissed off at us for. I'm like, look, there's a whole litany of stuff you can gig us for legit, and I agree with you. Don't just fucking pile on with bullshit. It's just, and a lot of it's bigotry, right? I'm like, and that's why I tell people, I'm like, you know what, bigotry doesn't look any better on you. Right. But here's one, and one actually the same friend that was was drunk last weekend. The whole thing of like, well, why are you Americans, but there's two continents called North America and South America. I'm like, you guys only say that when you want to gig the United States. That's the only fucking thing. I heard Canadians say this shit all the time. Call yourself an American. I don't give a fuck. Because the thing is, here's the funny part. We're in the Americas too, so it's not wrong to call us Americans. And if you want to be called Americans too, go ahead. I don't care. No one can stop you.
Everybody else in the world calls us Americans too, though. It's not like we're making that shit up. I mean, they say all the time, oh, it's the Americans. Oh, it's the Americans. Okay. Well, what do you mean? The Mexicans? The Canadians? Tell me. Because if it isn't us, who is it?
Well, and the funny thing is, I pointed out, is that it wasn't us that came up with the goddamn name. It was the Brits that called us Americans first. And then especially the Brits, like the Brits love to go after soccer and things like that, or why we call ours football, and all that shit comes from them, all of it.
Yeah, soccer was the original name was soccer.
That's right.
Yep.
And for our football is based on rugby football.
Rugby football, yep.
And so it's like, no, you did this shit, and then the thing is, the Canadians use the same terms as we do, and they never give the Canadians shit. That's what tells me it's anti-American bigotry, right? Because they're going to give us shit about the word, they should give the Canadians shit, and they never do.
They never do. Here's what I don't understand about the Brits. They add letters to shit that don't make any sense.
Well, it's not that they add letters; it's that they just don't fucking pronounce all the letters in the word.
Sometimes they add letters that aren't there, and they say them, like aluminium.
Well, no, they spell it differently than we do.
It's not aluminium, it's aluminum, damn it.
Well, and the funny thing is, what I always point out, actually, because the original name was aluminum, then aluminum, and then aluminium came after. So neither of us is using the original word, and the word we use is closer to the original.
Closer.
It's earlier.
Well, I
And
mean, American English anyway is closer to what was spoken in the UK at the time of the settlement of the New World.
that's right.
Like they've
And that,
changed their language on purpose since then. So
well, it's right. In fact, all the clipped vowels, like in saying, like instead of saying Cadbury, they'll say Cadbury and Sudbury. That was an affectation from the early 1800s, where rich people started, doing like basically fake country, like we want to sound like we're Hicks, and then the poor people said, well, the rich people are doing that. That must be a fancy way, so we'll do it like they do.
yep,
And meanwhile, it was something that was goobing on the fucking poor people.
yep. And then then now today they're like, oh, the Americans, oh, you speak the language funny. Say, no, no, this was the way it was spoken to begin with. You
Well,
guys changed, not us.
that's right. Well, that's the thing. Like Melvin Bragg, who was a British linguist, he points that out. In fact, in the early 1800s, when these clipped vowels and some of the other pronunciation changes were happening, there were British linguists of the day that were lamenting the changes and saying, "Oh, we wish we could keep talking like our American buddies who are still doing it the right way." And my favorite is when I'll have a Brit person will say to me, "We invented the language." Nobody invents any language, and languages are not invented. Well, Esperanto was an invented language.
Was in it, yeah, which I think is a fascinating language myself. I keep saying I want to learn it, but I'm far too lazy.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, no other language is invented. They develop over time.
Over
In fact,
time.
that's actually, well, there's one other set of invented languages, Tolkien's languages, and the reason why he ended up writing the Lord of the Rings and all this stuff, he was a linguist. He wanted to create a language, but the problem was, so he realized that a language needs a people and a history. So he made the elves, which he originally called gnomes. But the problem is they're effectively immortal. And he's like, well, language doesn't change. If everyone lived to be 6,000 years old, the language wouldn't change very much. So what he did was, that's why there's three branches of elves, and that's why there's dwarves and humans and hobbits, because this way they each had their own thing, and they would, influence one another. Well, yes, people in Kentucky, yeah, I've been there. But although, who's worse? Mississippi.
Yeah. The American Northeast is
Real quick,
closest.
there you go.
The American Northeast is the closest to actual proper English than anywhere else in the world.
Right.
So
Well, it's the same thing with Spanish in Argentina. That basically, the the Argentines, because they're isolated, they've got the Andes Mountains to their west, so they're cut off from Chile and Peru. And they got Brazil, was Portuguese speakers, to the north. So they were basically kind of locked in place, and their Spanish has changed very little from 300 years ago, 400 years ago, when everything was being settled. So they're more Spanish than the Spanish. You keep getting too far away, and you hear nothing.
yeah, which is weird. I don't know. I think what happens is, hang on. I think what happens is when you speak, and if I try to speak too soon, it kind of just cuts out. I don't know.
Hmm.
Number one, this is why I love Dana.
Oh, went away.
See, this is the attitude that I get from her at work because we work together. She's a coworker. So this is what my days are like.
Nice.
But yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, but that's all right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Bob McDermott. So yeah, as far to your point, as far as directly protecting our country, that's probably true. But that doesn't mean, okay. So like Korea, basically it was stopping expansionism, and most of the world was on our side. Basically you had Russia, China, North Korea. Um,
And
because
you have to
Warsaw Pact
remember,
didn't exist yet.
yeah, you have to remember too, though, like when people say defending America, like some people are going to argue defending America's interest is the same thing. And I would argue, obviously, it's not because, our interests can change. Um, I mean,
Well,
if
that's what it is.
yeah, right. It depends on what it is. So yeah, there have been plenty of wars that we were involved in, whether it was direct boots on the ground or supplying weapons or whatever, where we defined what we were doing or justified what we were doing by saying it supported our interest. It was most of the time probably about oil, but whatever. I mean,
Yeah, I
so
mean, well,
I'm not
Vietnam.
defending it. I'm just saying that's a thing that happens out there.
Yeah, I mean, Vietnam wasn't about oil, but I mean, problem is with Vietnam was just it was like we couldn't decide if we wanted to be in it or not, and we basically made a half of the whole thing. We either
Yep.
should have gone all the way or fucking not do
Or
anything at
just
all.
stayed the fuck home.
Right, one or the other. You can't. This whole limited war thing is kind of it's nice idea, but it doesn't work.
Right.
Um, and now as far as Iraq, attacking, invading Kuwait, I mean, basically now, and the reason why there was such a big coalition because now it's not just American interest, it's the world's interest, right? I mean, if Hussein's controlling like 40% of the oil, and he could have easily knocked over Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia didn't have much of a military force. So, I mean, as I pointed out, because and the thing with oil, it's more than just gasoline. I mean, there's all sorts of petrochemical, derivatives. So I was like, yeah, no blood for polyvinyl chloride and no blood. And I just started listing off all the other things that come out, but the thing is, like, certainly, the invasion of Iraq in 2003 was not justified. Um, Basically, we were lied to. And here's the thing: I didn't trust Bush Jr., but the person I hold mostly accountable to, as far as I'm concerned, is Tony Blair, because Tony Blair is the one that convinced me that, well, maybe there's something that we need to do. Maybe maybe he's got these weapons, because I didn't believe Bush, but I believe Tony Blair, and Tony Blair lied too. But I mean, as far as Afghanistan, hey, Bin Laden hit us. He said he hit us. He admitted it. So I didn't have a problem with that one. I mean, I think again, that's another thing that the problem there is, the military is very good at winning the war, but its job is not nation building, and it was set up to do a job it wasn't prepared to do. You're too far away again.
I can't be too far away. It's right here. It's
Is it?
right here.
Oh, okay.
This is the mic. It's right here. Um, the problem about doing anything about anything from Afghanistan is the people who funded September 11th. We're all buddies with them now. The Trump regime thinks they're fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, it's like a lot of things. There's a lot of things we blender into. Well, just like, I mean, really the biggest, if you want to look at the stuff we did that was really bad, the biggest thing is you can really look at like Africa and Central and South America in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. There's a whole lot of stuff that most people don't even know about that we were getting involved in.
how about the
And
sterilization of the women on Puerto Rico in the 1950s?
that too. That's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you figure, like, think of the coup d'etats in Central America and all that.
Hmm.
We were
Yeah, we did a lot of really, as a country, our government and our military industrial complex has done a lot of really shitty things over the years.
and we've sided with a lot of dictators because they were our dictators.
Yeah, it was in
And
America's interest.
yeah, they were anti-communist, so we're like, yeah, fine, yeah, it doesn't matter, So on the one hand, we'll say, hey, the communists are bad because they're doing horrible things to their people, and then we're siding with anti-communists doing the same shit to their own people.
Well, was Reagan had the Taliban at the White House, didn't he?
Yeah,
So
and well, that's the thing. I mean, And also there's the pictures of Hussein with Donald Rumsfeld, right, in like 1983.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell, Noriega was our guy, right? And then George Bush, the first, goes and knocks him over. And if that's funny,
Yeah,
like,
we're not really good at picking winners.
no, and well, the thing is, funny part about it is, it was really easy to tell for them to convict him because, he had the receipts because we saw, I mean, he was working for us, so we, hey, on this date you did this. We know because here's the conversation that we had with you on that day about the shit we were, you were going to do.
Switching gears a bit. Apparently, Christy Nome, right, I guess last night, right before Senator Padilla was tackled and handcuffed, right before that, she had made the announcement that basically that the federal government is going to stay in LA in order to liberate the state of California from its elected leadership.
Yeah, I saw that.
So yeah, it sounds like a military dictatorship.
Yeah.
And
And then,
I mean, I have my issues with Gavin Newsom. He's kind of a douche. Um, he's got this real like snotty kind of a douchey like tude. But I think sometimes that is called for, and I think this is one of those times. I mean, he can get on, in front of a camera and be like, "Hey, come get me, come get me," and then they didn't. It's yeah, good job. I mean,
I double dog dare you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was fantastic. And then apparently, what today? I think it was today. He tweeted at or said to Stephen Miller, "Hey, you pulled troops, the National Guard, off of the border. They were protecting the border. You pulled them off the border to have them sitting in LA twiddling their thumbs."
Yeah. Yeah. And there's just so much. And the thing is like, we've been talking about for weeks about how they're just trying to overwhelm us, and it's like, so now Israel and Iran are in a fucking full out war.
Yeah,
And then somebody I know who I have mixed feelings about. He's kind of a douche, but he's a smart douche. So I'm like, well, sometimes I kind of put up with him. But he's the gamer thing, and he was hanging out with some other gamer people I know, and he's wearing a, it's got the American flag and the Israeli flag to stand with Israel. I'm like, what does that mean? What does it stand with
what
Israel?
does that mean? Yeah, yeah,
Does that, because here's the thing. I mean, as far as do I support Israel's right to exist? Absolutely, right? And they can defend themselves against this, that, and the other thing. Does that mean I think it's carte blanche to just do whatever they want and kill whoever they want, however they want, whenever they want, wherever they want? Even civilians in low droves? Fuck no. Fuck no.
really? Well, that must mean you're anti-Semitic.
Well, that's the thing. It's just this all or none bullshit. And the same thing on the other side, right? It's like, look, I support, I support a Palestinian state. I'm for the Palestinian civilians. Do I support Hamas? Am I going to chant their shit? No fucking
No
way,
fucking
because
way.
they're fucking terrorists and they purposely kill civilians. And I'm like, again, because and I know there's people who don't like to make the distinction. They're like, well, if you kill civilians, however it happens, it doesn't matter. It fucking matters. It doesn't,
It
maybe it
fucking
doesn't matter
matters.
to dead
Yeah, it matters.
people and their
It matters.
families. But whether
Right.
targeting civilians is not the same as targeting bad guys. And
That's
the thing that gets me with Israel is that in the past, whenever they've gone after bad guys who were hiding behind civilians, they used very targeted methods that reduced civilian casualties. Over the last year and a half, up until fairly recent, up until near the end of the Biden administration, they were just like, fuck it, and like, oh, we got to kill two guys, we'll drop 2,000-pound snake eyes and take out the whole camp and kill 97
right.
people and injure 300 others because we wanted to get two guys. Whereas in the past, they'd use a Hellfire missile and they'd kill 5 people, including the 2 they wanted, and injure like 20.
Yeah.
But they just fuck it. We don't care because they basically don't see Palestinians as human beings.
Nope. Honestly, they get the whole thing about, oh, no such thing between a Palestinian civilian and Hamas because they voted for them. Yeah, over 30 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, and mostly because the Palestinian Authority at the time was ineffective and corrupt.
Yep.
And here's the
Yep.
thing: basically because of what's going on, because of the indiscriminate attacks and everything, because Hamas wasn't popular. Their popularity was underwater, but because they were the ones seen as standing up for them,
Yep.
now they're like 85% popular. So yeah, good job.
Good job. And I mean, and they can't even, the people, if they wanted to get rid of them, they couldn't. They can't. That's it. That's
No.
it. I mean, the same way we can't get rid of Trump.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I keep hoping for that Widowmaker.
Hey, man, oh, so he's got to be, a couple Big Macs away. No.
I would hope. And the one thing too, and I had such a hard
How
time.
many, how many Big Macs does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop?
The other thing too, I'm getting so tired of like the left wing, online media, where they just like every title is clickbait. They overstate
Yep.
and exaggerate, and it's just like, and then there's even things like, okay, maybe they have a point, but they kind of overestimate what impact certain things are going to have, and it's like I got to keep trying to tell people on the left, whether they're liberal, leftist, progressive, whatever. Slick burns means nothing against the right wing. Right? They don't give a fuck. They do not care. Their supporters don't care.
Changes nothing.
Right. So yeah, like
Like
might feel
burns you
good.
want.
Yeah, it might feel good, but it
Yeah.
accomplishes zero.
It accomplishes nothing. I mean, there's like, there's an article, a Substack, about the election. And it's like a lot of stuff that has been known, like a lot of the data that came out of the elections doesn't make any sense. And if you were to take the data at face value, then you're supposed to believe that without a landslide, Donald Trump performed better than Ronald Reagan did in a landslide election.
Mm.
The data just makes no sense at all. And that there are huge discrepancies in party line voting and the top of the ticket being for the opposite party. There's huge discrepancies in that only happens in swing states, and it doesn't happen in any other states, only in swing states. And that the results are just beyond where it would have triggered an automatic recount in every single state. And it's like there's just a lot of data that's just looks
Questionable.
suspicious. That's questionable. And it
I
turns out that there was an update in the swing states on their the election computers the September before the election, and it was done under what's called a minimus. I forgot what it was. Minimus something. It was supposed to be just something that shouldn't affect anything. It was like a just tweaking the software, and it turns out that it was more than just tweaking the software, and that it was done by a company that is connected to what's his name, Thiel, Trump's buddy, Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, well, why did we allow this to go through? Like who was in charge of this? Why did this happen?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he lost.
Well, especially if we see if there's a big undervote, because typically the way it goes is you'll get more votes for president than you do for your down ticket.
Right. But they have a lot of split tickets.
Yeah.
Where the
And it's
down
less,
votes are all going Democrat, but top of the ticket is going to Republicans. Where well, to Trump specifically. And it's just like that.
it's unusual.
It does happen. It does happen. But like the percentage of that happening was really high only in swing states.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too that I'm pissed off about too is like, so where are all the accelerationists that were like, well, let Trump win, like fucking Susan Sarandon, like, oh, let Trump win in 2016 because things will get so bad that we'll just usher in and people will just want this leftist utopia, which of course that didn't fucking happen.
Right.
And it wasn't going to.
It wasn't
So
going
okay, well now Trump's way worse. He was bad as he was the first time. He's way worse in the first 3 months than he was his whole fucking term.
I have an answer.
And
I
where
have
are
an
they?
answer. I have an answer.
Where?
they are still screaming that same thing, but you can't hear them because they're being drowned out by the idiots who believe everything Trump says.
Hmm.
Like you can't usher in this like leftist revolution, this rebirth of the left as democratic socialists. If 40% of the country, that's kind of high. 35% of the country believes that Trump is the God King.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. We're being done in by as much as the people on the right wing, we're getting done in by people on our own side, or nominally on our own side anyway.
I don't think so, Bob. I don't think so. Because think about it. If you're a Democrat, right, and you go and you're watching the debate and you're a Democrat and you're going to vote Democrat all the way down ticket, and then you watch the debate and you're like, oh, well, I can't vote for Joe Biden, so I'm going to vote for Trump.
Right.
And
But
I'm
you
going
might
to vote.
Well, plus Biden wasn't the fucking candidate on the vote. So why would people not vote for Harris because of
So,
Biden?
so the split tickets, Biden's age, his debate performance, none of that is going to give that result, a split ticket result. You're not going to get that from that.
Well, and
Even Harris, because if you're a Democrat and you're looking at Harris or Trump and you're a Democrat, why would you vote for Trump and
yeah,
split the ticket that way?
yeah,
That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
yeah. I'm just so.
The problem with this data, and I saw a lot of this data I've seen before, because ever since the election, experts have been holding the data up, saying this doesn't make sense. And then it's like, oh, you're questioning the election. And so it's like, all I'm saying is this doesn't make sense, right? And it's since the election, it's been coming up. The new information that's now coming out, what's today? 2 days ago. The new information is the connection to Peter Thiel and the software updates. And it's just like now there's like this whole complete picture about what looks like might have happened. And it's being presented, according to that Substack, if I understood it correctly, to the Department of Justice and in different states, and that the states are going to have to pursue it if anything's going to be done about it. The problem is, I don't think we have a mechanism
We don't.
to correct a stolen election. No, right? We don't.
We don't.
We don't. Like the closest thing that I can think of would be impeachment and arrest. But then JD Vance would step in. Like Kamala Harris isn't going to be ushered in.
Right. The thing,
You know?
the thing about it though is, I heard some people like, oh well, if Trump goes, JD Vance is worse. No, he's not, because
No, he's not.
he doesn't have a cult following. No one likes him. No, not the Democrats, not the Republicans, not the Independents. No one fucking likes that guy. He's weird, and nobody likes him.
Dude can't order a donut.
Yeah, and most importantly, no one in the House or Senate is afraid of him.
Yep.
I mean, sure, he'll try to do some bad shit and he'll get some bad shit through for sure. But no one, all the ones that are running scared from Trump now will not be running scared from JD Vance.
No, he'd be pretty much useless. He would be a figurehead until the next election.
That's right. It's just like the same thing with Mike Pence. Everyone's like, oh, we'll get Mike Pence and he'll be worse. Obviously, he wasn't worse than Trump because Mike Pence wasn't willing to throw away democracy.
No, when it came down to it, at the last minute, he did the right thing.
Yeah.
It would have been
And
nice if he had done it way before, but whatever.
right. Yeah, it doesn't make him a hero, but at least he did the right thing, and it says he was the better man of the two.
Right. And I don't know if JD Vance is the better man of the two, but he definitely doesn't have the cult of personality that unfortunately the orange baboon
Well,
has.
I think he actually, I don't know that. I mean, I think he'd be willing to steal democracy too, but I think in certain subtle ways he'd be better than Trump anyway. Because I think for one, he can read, and he doesn't seem to have that vindictive, like Trump's trying to go after his enemies, just attacking people he doesn't like, and don't kowtow him, that don't suck his dick. And Vance wouldn't be that. Yeah, he's not going to be good, and that's the thing. This thing's kind of funny. so many people think like all or nothing. Well, if you think he's not as bad as Trump, you think he's good. No, he's not good. He's just not as bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a zero-sum game. Yeah, but I'm going to respectfully disagree, Bob. We're not talking like, 50 people. We're talking millions and millions and millions of people that are all simultaneously unconnected throughout 7 states, only 7 states. It didn't happen in the non-swing states. It only happened in the swing states.
Well, and that's the other thing too. It was very odd that he ran the table on the swing states, even the states that
Well,
she
that's
was
what they're saying. It
even the
has
states,
never happened.
even the states she was leading by a number of points going into election night.
He got less than 50% of the vote, and he swept all of the swing states. That has never happened before in history. And
Right.
again, they're saying basically what we're being asked to believe. Like Reagan won an election where he lost one state.
Right.
Right? Yeah, he ran the table, right? He got 49 out of 50 states. And we're expected to believe that Donald Trump performed better without getting a landslide.
Right.
How is that statistically possible? Oh, wait, it's not. It's not. But that's what we're expected to believe. So no,
They
we're not talking about small numbers of people. We're talking about millions and millions of people in 7 specific states that all voted a very specific way, and just enough of them to put it beyond automatic recount in every state, in all 7 states. Like, let's say you had to win by 2% or more, right, to avoid a recount. Right? I don't know what the number is. I'm just saying if it was like 2% or more to avoid a recount. Well, in every single one of the swing states, let's say it was like 2.1. Just enough to put it past the recount. Like the odds of that happening, because like some swing voters are crazy. Now that it doesn't, numbers don't work that way. People don't
I
work that
mean,
way.
the problem
Math
for me,
doesn't work that way.
the only thing for me is like it could be true, it could be the case, but obviously nothing's going to happen out of it. Even if it all
Nothing
comes to
can.
light, nothing's going to happen about it.
Yeah, I mean, nothing can happen, unfortunately, right? Nothing, and that's the most frustrating thing about it. It was just like,
Well, see, the thing is, Bob, he only got 2 million more votes than last time, but Harris got like 7 million votes fewer than Biden did, and that's odd, especially for since he was president before and people know what he was like. I mean, that's the whole thing. People that voted for Biden, they weren't necessarily hyped for Biden. They were just like, we get this fucking lunatic out of office.
I mean, I'm not saying that that didn't happen, Bob. Like what you're saying obviously did happen, but not to the numbers that we're seeing in the stats. It's not statistically possible.
Let's move on to something else because this topic's starting to piss me off.
Well, that's the thing. Like I tried to talk to Peach about it and she started making faces. And it's just like I get it, right? Because it becomes something that is apparently true, right? It's not like, okay, you can't actually absolutely prove it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you look at the numbers and the stats, and this is something that is true. It is clearly true. It's apparently true. And me, you, all of us are powerless to do anything about it. So having this information does us what good at this point in time?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get it. I get it. But I still think we'll stop talking about it now. But I still think it's worth bringing up to talk about so it's out there. Like people can't be going in 3 years' time, hopefully, where it's like, hey, look, we've uncovered all of this stuff, and yeah, the American people were robbed. People go, oh my God, really? No, no, let's do what we got to do and get rid of this motherfucker. Anyway,
Yeah. But so tomorrow, so we're meeting up with like Suzanne and her brother and her sister-in-law and some of their friends, and so we decided that the meetup we were supposed to originally meet a couple months ago, and instead we're gonna everyone wants to go to the protest tomorrow.
right.
I'm not going. I'm dropping Suzanne off. I can't stand for fucking 4 hours.
Yeah.
I can't stand for 1 hour, let alone 4 hours.
How's your mobility, by the way?
improving because it's hard. I mean, unfortunately, my knees are getting worse and my ankles getting worse. However, I'm losing weight, so it doesn't hurt as much. If you know what I mean. So it's like so it's kind of like the same but better a little bit. Like it's weird. It's like I
So
can
wait, so the problem being relieved from weight is being replaced with age?
yes, basically.
That sucks.
Yeah. So now overall, my net is slightly to the good,
Right. Good.
but it's
Right.
it's like it's a race between whether age, so
No way.
yeah,
That
but
sucks.
45 more pounds to go for my goal for the year, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Really sucks. I'm sorry
And
about that.
so that's the thing. It's just going to be, well, like I said, I can definitely get along around better than I did. And what's nice now is like I'm finding more and more chairs that I could fit in that either not only fit, but I'm not in peril of having them disintegrate underneath me, which is nice.
No,
Um,
that's not nice.
well, no, it's nice that it's not that there's fewer chairs that will disintegrate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
I
I
actually,
mean, I remember that I had the stool at the one deli. It- I was like, oh, Joe, I felt so bad. I was like, oh, Joe.
yeah. And I actually got to sit in a booth when we went to K-Pot, and because their booths are kind of big, the separation between the table and the booth is actually a lot, bigger than most places.
Okay.
And I was actually able to sit in a booth for the first time in literally like 10 years, 12 years.
That's good.
You saw the pictures I posted, right?
Today? No.
No, I posted it like yesterday, the day before. Let me
I
find
don't
it
know if I
here.
saw them.
So I posted a picture of me at my peak weight and me now.
Oh, wait. I think I did see that. Where are you? It's dark in here. I can't see shit.
Well, why turn your light back on?
There you are. I found you.
Yeah. So the picture on the left is me at 600 pounds, and the picture on the right is at 445.
600. My God.
Yeah, and you see like I got no fucking definition. I have a little knob for a chin because the rest is just face.
I am
Uh,
scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Where are you?
I found it here. Hold on.
My brother in Christ. Where are
I'll
you?
pop it in private chat. Here you go.
Oh, yeah, I found it, right? Yeah. I found it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Almost looks like two different people.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, the guy on the left is clearly Mexican.
Yeah, he got deported though.
Did he? Uh,
Just Troy Doe. Do we know Just Troy Doe?
yeah, he comes in every stream.
Everyone. That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, but I don't know, man. I just oh, excuse me. Yeah. So basically, so I have to drop her off, and then I got to kill 3 hours probably in the city,
Oh yeah.
because we're meeting for dinner somewhere. So
Hmm.
the problem is the time it takes to come in and out is like, well, it's not really worth it to come home. I'd be home for like maybe an hour, and I have to turn around and go back. Thank you,
Well,
thank you,
there's a
Small.
lot of that coughing going on around here lately, so there's something really awful going around.
Mm. Maybe Trump will catch it. That'd be nice. Well, that's the thing. Apparently, he came very close to dying when he had COVID, and like, oh come on, man. That's how this proves there's no God. Because real, if there was a beneficent God, he would have gone.
So I'm upset by a lot of things actually. So yeah, that's proof that there is no God. And also Trump's presidency has proven that there's no such thing as UFOs visiting us.
Right.
Because if they had, he would have released that shit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, he can't keep a fucking secret. Yeah. He never could. He could never hide that.
Hey, godless heathen. What's up, James? How are you? Do you not have that channel anymore?
I kind of do remember that channel.
Yeah, hello. How are you? Long time no see. We're friends on Facebook, aren't we? I got just so many. I got so many Facebook pages, so many friends. It's hard to say.
You know what I miss from YouTube? She's been gone for a long time. Beware the Lizard 42.
Yeah, yeah,
It was really cool. And then she had a kind of a semi-tearful goodbye. My guess is that probably somebody in her life found out that was probably not a good idea for them to find out. And then
yeah,
another person too that was great that disappeared was Phil Helene's. I used to love his
yeah,
videos.
yeah. There was a couple of his that I still remember. He had the whole story about the guy that wanted proof that evolution is real.
Oh yeah, they go back in time
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
they're
Every
like,
every time they died, they had to start all the way over again. Um,
oh no, I don't know. That's different. This one was
yeah,
like,
yeah. They went back in time, and he was eaten by a dinosaur. And when he woke up, he had already they had to go back and start over again. And his buddy's like, "Yeah, that's what happens when you get eaten by a dinosaur. So let's not do that." And then at the end, they were rescued by a boat, and the seagulls were flying around.
yeah, that's not the
And
same one I saw.
no, yeah, the
No.
boat captain was like, "Look at all these birds," and they were like, "That's not birds. Those are dinosaurs."
Okay, maybe it is the same video then. I just didn't remember them getting eaten. I thought they lived. They just lived the entire time. I didn't think they kept going back.
Yeah, well, they had to live the entire time because if they died, they had to start over.
Hmm. Yeah, that was a good video.
There was that one, and then there was the one that Meridian Frost did a spoof of. That one was a good one too.
I don't remember.
It was the one about like the beauty of science or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but Josh basically remade the entire video, but he just changed it all to like Ebonics and stuff.
Really?
It was hilarious. I mean, he was just like, they showed like a black sky or something, and he's like, "Why's it got to be black?"
Oh, jeez. Huh.
I wonder if he still got that somewhere. I'd have to find it.
Trump wouldn't hide the UFOs unless they were on Epstein's flight list with him. Well, that's what I think is kind of funny because they're all the right wingers are like, oh, they keep wanting to release the list because they think Clinton's on and all this. I'm like, and they think that that's going to make us not want to put the list out. I don't, I love
Yeah,
Bill Clinton. I voted for him twice, but you know what? If he's on the list, fuck him.
yeah. If Obama's on the list, I
Fuck
don't give
him.
a shit. I want to know. Put it out
Yeah.
there. I ain't looking to protect anybody. It's only the
No,
right wing that wants to protect their politicians. They're the ones that have the cult worship mentality when it comes to politicians. Hey, man, I love Bernie Sanders. I want to know if he's on the list too. If he is, arrest him.
the one thing too, and this is one thing I will say. No, look, obviously a lot of people on the list, if a lot of people that are on the list did bad shit, right?
Right.
Not everybody who went to the parties did bad shit.
That's true also.
Um, and that's my only concern that people who just went there didn't partake in any of the evil shit that they're
Right.
going to
Are
be
getting caught up in it.
yeah. I guess that's one good thing about not being all that popular. I've never been invited to by pederasts to any kind of party, so so I'm in the clear.
Wow.
Oh wow.
James, didn't you come to the States or weren't you like coming to the States? I thought at some point you were supposed to be moving to this side of the pond.
Where he's in what, the UK?
Well, I mean, he was. I assume he might still be.
One person I also missed too, Sandy Sweet 75, and then she changed her channel name to Adonic Angel, and then disappeared.
Not familiar with either. It was, but things changed. Well, that's the one thing you can always be sure of.
Well, Sandy did a good video about it was about the friend zone. And she said, well, if the friend zone is a thing, well, then the girlfriend zone is a thing. Is that's where guys like they'll or actually no, that was right. That was actually Ashley did that, but she did the one. She was basically saying that friend zone was real, but she was like, but where women it's different. Like there's guys that want to fuck you but won't take you out.
Yeah,
They won't say you're their girlfriend, but they want to fuck you all the time.
Hey, that's where "Say My Name" came from. Say my name, say my name.
You know, and yeah, she was cool. Black girl.
Who else?
She was the black girl in our midst until Jazzy showed up.
Yeah, I remember Jazzy from way back. Um, we had our ups and downs. I think we're friends on Facebook still, but I don't really see her anymore on there.
Yeah, I mean, I took her out to dinner probably about 3 years ago now. We went out, maybe it's two, I don't know, somewhere around there.
Got That
And
Funk is not active anymore. I'm sorry, Joe. Got That Funk's not really active anymore. I know he gave me the Breakfast Club channel, and I forgot how to get into it. And
I
I
might.
had changed the passwords and stuff. So
You would change the passwords?
yeah, because like he gave it to me. I had to change the ownership and everything of it.
Hmm.
And then I didn't do anything with it, and then I forgot how to get into it.
Oh, jeez.
Because yeah, I'm brilliant like that.
Silly person.
Well, I saw recently he was saying recently, I don't know, in the last couple of months, he was saying something about how he wished he still had it. And I was like, I don't even know if I can give it back to you.
That's funny.
But I mean, he's got a large enough following with such a varied and diverse subscriber base, more so than like you or I or most people in our community, that he could just make a whole new one and build a following very quickly. Oh, hey, Sadie, you can't wait to be on the next episode. So, on the next episode of Kerfuffle tonight is going to be Sadie, who is a future movie star.
Oh,
Or Broadway star or college student
cool.
or all of the above. The future is wide open.
Nice.
Yeah. So she'll be on next week, being all goofy.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Will she be on camera though? That's the question.
Yeah, she will. I mean, she'll be on at minimum on mic.
Well, of course. Otherwise, she's not on mic. It's either a mime or just a blank
But she'll
screen.
probably be on camera. It's up to her. But Dana is her mom.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's okay. So that's Small's daughter. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So she is the
Uh, oh,
tiny
okay.
dinosaur.
I thought she was like a character that Small was doing. Okay.
No, no, she's the tiny dinosaur. She's actually not the tiniest of the tiny dinosaurs, though. There's actually two that are even smaller,
Oh,
and they're all a talented bunch. So they're all into theater, bunch of performers, and she is a character. Yeah, yeah. Sadie's a good kid. She's a graduating senior um, from the local high school. And I see her every day, and she's weird, but she's a good weird. She's a good kid.
that's cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
proud.
So she asked through her mom. She asked if she could be on the show. I'm
Okay,
like, yeah, sure. We could have her on next week. So
gotcha.
I asked Star to be on. He's traveling to South Africa.
Hmm.
He's like apparently he was like literally sitting on the plane when I asked him,
Oh
uh,
wow.
waiting to take off. And I said, when you get there, say hi to some of those starving refugee white South African farmers.
Yeah, no doubt.
And he's like, oh, the chubby white ones. And I'm like, yeah, those are them.
Yeah, Oh God. What?
Yeah, we are both Star Trek fans. I was wondering if either of you have watched the new show Murderbot. It has plenty. No, I never heard of it.
I've never heard of it either.
So apparently they're capping Strange New Worlds at 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So the third season is about to come out within the next month or so. And then after this, there's only be 2 more seasons, and I am really upset about that for a couple of reasons. One, only 5 seasons. Come on. Number two, they're only 10 episode seasons. What is this nonsense with pretty soon you're going to get like 15 minutes of a show and they're going to be like, that's the season. See you in 3 years.
I mean, that's one of the things I hate about streaming. I mean, way back in the day, it used to be, remember, way back, it was like 26 episodes a season,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it
Like
was 22.
Enterprise, those people, the people in Enterprise, they never had a day off.
Hmm. But
And
now,
that's the way it should be. Slave labor in Hollywood, damn it.
well, the other big problem to me about it is that these streaming, well, and granted, Strange New World so far has been an exception. There's been through lines, but each episode's kind of its own thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of these shows, like Picard, it's like, well, there's one story for the whole 10 thing, and then there's not filler episodes, there's filler like stuff. That's something that Steve Shotty's been on about, where it's like, well, we didn't need this episode, it didn't build anything, and it's like it could have been a side quest that actually was cool and like another story, but it wasn't. It's just we're just padding the runtime.
Yep. No, I hate that shit. I hate it, hate it, hate it. Strange New Worlds has been very good so far. And yeah, every episode kind of stands alone, but there's continuing stories, and they have mentions of episodes that have passed, and it's just like that. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good because it keeps a continuity without bogging you down to having to follow every single.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be. I mean, that's again, that's how Babylon 5 was, right? You had episode, but then there's the A story and the B, there was A plot and the B plot, but then there was sometimes a C plot, which is part of the overall arc. Now, sometimes the arc was the A story, sometimes the arc was the B story, sometimes the arc was a C story.
Right, a whole different thing.
Yeah. And it was just like you had the main thing and the secondary thing, and then there was this through line in the background to remind you that the arc was still happening.
So I want to comment on this one really quick. So there's a reason why your girlfriend thinks that Spock is hot on that show, and that reason is it's Ethan Peck. He is hot. So.
Oh, you heard about Spaceballs, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's getting finally. That's getting a sequel after 30 years or something.
Yeah, 38 years. What's wild is I saw the promo and Mel Brooks did the promo. Dude, he's 99.
Yeah, I know.
Sharp as a fucking tack. And like, damn, I'm not that sharp now. It was I mean, I was like, and people were like, oh, we gotta hurry up, he's gonna die. Like, dude, he doesn't look like he's ready to die anytime soon.
So I am waiting for, speaking of television, I am waiting for the Dexter spin-offs. There is the what is the one, Dana, that we were watching? Was it Origins? I'm waiting for season 2 of that. I am waiting for the spin-off series, The Ice Truck Killer, which is about Dexter's brother. And then there is the other one, Resurrection, which is not a because the other ones are prequels. This one is going to be a sequel. So that's supposed to be coming out this summer. So, and the Ice Truck Killer is coming out this summer too. So there's a lot of Dexter heading our way, and I'm looking forward to all of that. Original Sin.
Yeah, I never watched Dexter.
Dexter, love Dexter.
I don't watch most shows really. I mean,
well, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of cop stuff. I'm not a huge fan of serial killer stuff. But like, a serial killer cop, I don't know. That hit the spot.
Yeah, I can't. That's I've watched too many police accountability videos. I'm like, oh, the cops are bad enough without having a serial killer.
He's a blood splatter expert for the Miami police, and it's just a really good show. Um, with a whole backstory, and he's really dark and crazy, and love it,
Hmm.
love it. So Peach is like a huge fan. Dana is a huge fan. So waiting and waiting and waiting for the rest of the shows to come out, so we can just consume them like the animals we are.
Hmm. Yeah, there's basically I'm looking forward to Strange New Worlds.
I'm waiting on that.
I don't want again. There's not too many series, and well, supposedly they're working on Orville season 4. So
Are
uh,
they? I
yeah,
thought that was done. Like we were waiting for it, then it wasn't coming. Then we were waiting for it, then it wasn't coming. So
well, they've said that it's going to happen. I Always some of the actors on it have said it's going to happen.
could be
And
wishful thinking.
production was supposed to start earlier this year, but we don't know if it has or not.
Yeah. I am sweating like crazy. It is so fucking hot. Look at even my makeup is starting to run.
You're schwitzing.
Yeah, what you said. That's what I'm doing.
Yiddish is a great language for expressing, you know,
Things that are hard to express.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, because it's like there's just you know, um, there's a lot of words that are onomatopoeic. Like you hear it and you're like you don't have to literally know that's what schmuck means to know that it's not something you want to be.
A New York Supreme Court judge has ordered a hand recount in Rockland County after Kamala Harris reportedly received 0 votes in multiple districts during the 2024 election, an outcome experts say is statistically impossible. The lawsuit points to potential voter suppression or vote tampering, especially since hundreds voted for other Democrats on the same ballot. A hearing is set for September 22nd. 2025, we must demand transparency. So this thing, which has I have known about, and others were aware of, we were talking about before, since the election, is slowly starting to pick up steam. That people are saying, no, wait, people aren't crazy. There's something here.
Yeah, 0 votes. That is, I mean, just like
In Rockland County, I mean, that's right here. That's right here. Like Rockland County, 0 vote, zero. No, that's just
right.
not
Yeah,
possible.
you might expect Trump to take the county, but you not her getting 0 votes.
And Rockland County, the Jewish population in Rockland County, right? You're not going to what is this McAfee? I keep getting this pop-ups from McAfee. I hate McAfee, and I just happen to live in a town called McAfee. The number of Jewish people in New York State that are going to be flocking to vote for Trump and then vote Democrat down the rest of the ballot. Yeah,
That's the thing.
that's
Yeah,
just
there's plenty of Jews that vote Republican, but if they vote Democrat down ticket, they're not going to vote for. Well,
right. They're not going to vote for Trump.
especially when the people on the the leftists and the progressives that didn't like her because of her support. Basically supporting Biden's support of Israel. So yeah, that wouldn't make sense at all. Well, we're in for
So
some.
yeah, these things have legs. It's slowly picking up steam. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we're in for some interesting times one way or another.
Yeah, yeah, one way or the other.
Interesting.
Yeah, somebody said that, right? Hope you live in interesting times, and fuck them. So
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm
I'm
just
pretty.
saying. So
Yeah,
I'll let off that topic now
yeah, I'm
because
pretty
it is
beat.
upsetting.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna cut my participation short this week because I'm pretty beat, man. I'm
Yeah,
flat.
I'm probably gonna shut the show down shortly too because I am like I'm dying. It is so fucking hot in here.
Hmm.
And
No,
I don't
no
think I have a
AC.
lot of. I gotta go get a big bowl of ice cream. I don't think I have a choice in the matter.
No, no AC.
It doesn't work very well.
Oh, okay.
So
Is it a
we don't
wall?
have
Is it
we don't
a
have.
wall? Is it a
Yeah,
wall?
we have a big wall unit. I want to get like a mini split kind of a thing,
Hmm.
but they're not expensive to buy. But I think they're expensive to get installed because I can't do it.
What's the dimensions of the? Tell me the dimensions of the one you have.
Of the
Yeah, the one you have.
wall unit,
Yeah.
I don't know what the dimensions are. I don't know
Well, measure it.
that
Not right
big.
now, but,
That big.
or send me the model number.
Oh, I think it's ancient. That thing is probably like 40 years old.
That's right. Send me the model
I
number.
can't read anything on there.
Oh,
Like I don't
well
even
then,
know this manufacturer. I'm not sure if they still exist. It's yellow.
well then, get a tape after this. At some point this weekend, get a tape measure and measure the damn thing.
I was looking at ones about because I don't remember what the size was, but the other day I was looking up by size, and these things are like $1,000 a piece.
Give me the dimensions.
So it's Bizarro World Cyber Gym. Yeah, wait. To be honest, feels like we slipped into. No, 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 James. We slipped into an alternate dimension way before 2022.
Yeah.
Way, way before 2016. As soon as Hillary got on camera and laughed, we've been in the Twilight Zone ever since.
Yeah.
Because people like her laugh makes people irrational. And I'm not blaming her. I'm blaming the people who find her laugh irrational or who get irrational from her laugh. Because as soon as that woman laughed, everybody's like, oh, she does this cackle.
And like that's a fucking stupid ass reason not to vote for somebody. It's like, well, it's just like the people who voted for Bush. Oh, he seems like someone to have a beer with. Yeah, you know what? There's lots of people I would like to have beer with, and I would never fucking vote for any
Never
one
vote
of them.
for them.
Not for
I
one of
know.
them.
Unfucking believable. I mean, 20, I was, all in for Bernie. But you know what? When it came time to the general, he wasn't on the ticket. So I voted for the Democrat that was on the ticket because
Right.
that's what you do.
Yeah. I mean, well, if you're an adult and you can do fucking math.
No, but we know there are a lot of adults that can't do math.
Well, this
I,
is true.
I work in a school. I'm going to tell you right now, there are a lot of adults that can't do math.
And some people just can't accept reality. It's like, well, maybe no. The third party candidate is well, unless something changes dramatically, and it's going to take a lot of work. No third party candidate will ever win the presidency ever. I will bet money on that. I'll bet large sums of money on that, because it's not going to fucking happen, and
I
unless again,
agree. I agree that it's not going to happen. But I will say that somebody like Trump, just existing in the political sphere, in the space that he's in, could be enough to motivate people to vote for a third party candidate if there was one with enough charisma to stand out.
yeah, but you look at
And we don't
if
have
you
that.
no, what's the thing? If you look at because this is the thing too, but people like, oh, let's go vote third party. I have yet to see a third party that isn't fucking batshit to one degree or another.
Right.
The Green Party is batshit, and the fucking all the other parties are batshit. The Libertarians are really fucking batshit. Um, it's just they're wingnuts, and like the Reform Party was the closest, and even then they disintegrated. Because here's the problem. Basically, you ended up with people on the right wing, people on the left wing that were both of which were not happy, and they weren't going to come up with a candidate together that they could
No,
agree on.
no, no. The Justice Democrats. Justice Democrats was the almost third party. Um, the one that I could stomach the most out of all third parties. Um, but I mean, it kind of disintegrated under its own weight because it didn't have the foundation to carry an actual party. They
Right,
all became Democrats.
right, and that's what I keep trying to tell people. If you want to build a third party or a fourth party or fifth party, which would be wonderful, it's gonna take groundwork. It's no more this fucking like every 4 years stick some vanity loser up there that's gonna not gonna win and it's just gonna draw people off of the usually off the Democratic candidate. Um, it's just not a sane position to
So
have.
my favorite candidate that is not affiliated with a major party
Hmm?
is Vermin Supreme.
I knew you were gonna say Vermin Supreme. I knew it. Because rent is too damn high. Um, but
Yeah, and I mean, and a pony is always nice.
That's right. But I mean, the thing is, and my point is that even if you did get somebody who just through some miracle, the perfect set of circumstances that allows the third party to get in, if they don't have support in Congress, their agenda goes nowhere because that's how the goddamn thing works. People think they're electing people that think, well, we get this person in and everything's going to change. So we're not electing a king.
So I'm getting a lot of pressure, not a lot. It's beginning to pick up again, though. I'm getting pressure to run again
Hmm.
for a county seat, and it's something I am thinking about since we're not moving anymore. We're not leaving, so
Right,
we're
okay.
staying, which is sad. But like I said, it's probably for the best. Um, so since we're sticking around, I may run again. I've had a couple of people just recently bring it up, um, and one of the things that I think if I do run, that I need people to understand before they vote for me in a council, because I'll be on the commissioner, it's a council, right? If you have, 5 people on that council, right, or 4 people that are Republicans, and you put one person that's a Democrat, that Democrat has no power,
Right.
right? So what the Democrats do every time they run somebody for that seat, or sometimes it's a pair of seats, right? That we're going to change all this stuff. And it's like, no, you're not. I mean, you're just not. You're one person. You can't. What you can do is make the concerns of the left heard.
Right.
You can do that. You can put the concerns of the left in front of the public. You can do it at the meetings, and you can make your dissent known. That's about all you have. You can
Right.
vote against bad, bad uh
Legislation.
legislation. You can vote against, but you can vote for things that are good. You can, but as far as like you could change it, you're not changing anything.
Well,
You're one
no,
person.
and even a president, right? I mean, basically, the reason why Trump's able to do this is because he's got Congress, and his Congress is afraid of him and not willing to stop his worst things,
Yeah.
right? And again, this is the math. This is why people that were like so happy that Joe Manchin quit, like, okay, so then it went from a guy who voted for the Republicans 35% of the time to someone who
Right now,
voted for the
somebody was
Republicans 100%
100%
of
of
the
the
time.
time.
Yeah, good fucking job, yay.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they also people don't seem to understand that you have to control the chamber to control what gets a vote. So
Yep.
Democrats can put forward all sorts of bills. They're not going to get any attention whatsoever because Mike Johnson controls what gets on the floor there, and then Thune gets controls what happens in the Senate. Or I mean, you might and you might in a committee, but even then, the Republicans control the committees. The committee chairs are not going to let Democrat bills go forward. So they're not even going to get a hearing in fucking committee. So if they're not going to get in the committee, they're not going to get to the floor because again, nobody in our goddamn country knows functionally how our government works because we're fucking stupid, and that's why, and especially people on the left. That's why, like, what was it? It was a newsroom or whatever the fuck that show was. It's like if liberals are so goddamn
Yeah.
smart, why are you
Why
so
did they lose so goddamn always? Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because learn how the fucking government works, please.
Please.
Functionally. I'm not talking about the payola and all the
No,
bullshit.
no, no. The function of the right, right. By the way, in case if I didn't tell you about this, if I didn't tell my our loyal viewers this, I recently earned a certificate in U.S. government from Harvard University.
Oh, cool, very neat.
So yeah,
You know,
took a certificate course in constitutional foundations. It's about the function of the government, how it all works. So
right,
it's
and
pretty
so
cool.
for and I'll tell people in here they probably know, but just in case they don't. So generally speaking, a bill will get introduced into a committee, or if it is introduced to the floor, it will be sent to the appropriate committee, whatever the appropriations, housing, urban development, all finance committee, whatever. And then whoever is the chairperson of that sets the agenda, and then the chairperson is determined on who controls Congress at that time. So whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans control comment, that determines who the chairperson is, and also determines how many members from each party are on the committee. So then they debate it and they discuss it. They bring in experts. They have hearings and all that. That's stuff that that happens in committee. That doesn't happen on the floor. That happens in committee. Then once they're done, if they'll have a vote to proceed or not, and if they do, then they will put forward a bill into the House or the Senate, depending on which chamber we're talking about, and then they'll have this discussion and debate and everything. But you generally do not have expert witnesses and all that. That happens in committee, and then they will have the floor vote. And now the thing is too in the Senate, which makes it even harder, is that in the Senate, in order to end debate, you need what's called a cloture vote, and that ends debate and then brings it to the floor for a final vote. So this is why, and now for a cloture vote, you need 60, and this is why even controlling the chamber isn't always enough, because if the other parties, if you don't get enough people, if you say you have 53, well, if you can't get 7 people from the other party to agree to end debate and have a vote, you don't have a vote. So that's how hard it is. See, that's the thing. When people are, well, Trump's doing all these things. He's doing these by fiat, by writing executive orders, and because he controls the Department of Justice, no one's stopping him. Because the Republicans in House and Senate are cowards. They don't stop him. And so the only thing the Democrats can do is take things to court, and the courts have been stopping him again and again and again.
Well, I mean, they've been ruling against him.
Well,
He
fair,
is
fair.
picking and choosing what he wants to listen to. And
Fair.
again, there's nobody that's going to stop him at this point, unfortunately.
Right,
Um,
because it would be the Justice Department's job to do something about it, and of course he controls the Justice Department, so they're not going to do anything. So basically, what we're finding is our system of checks and balances was nowhere near as good as we thought it was.
No, because as I was just today, I was talking about this at work. Back in the day when I was a kid, you went to the supermarket, they had the big circular candy thing, right? With
Right, I
all the
remember.
different bins of candy. And right in the middle, there was a box with a slit in it, and it said 5 cents. And you put in your nickel, and you can take any piece of candy you wanted. And that's called an Honest John box. That's what that's called. And you newspapers, they'll do the same thing. You have a little box next to the pile of papers. You drop your coins in, you take the newspaper. Or
Right,
you have the ones that open up. You can take all the newspapers out at the same time if you wanted.
right,
You know, I mean, you're stealing them all, but as long as you put one coin in, the door opens, you can take all the papers. It's an Honest John system. They figure Honest John will pay what he's supposed to pay. Well, that's how our system works. It's an Honest John system. It's like these are the rules, and we're just going to trust that the people are going to elect somebody honest enough to follow the rules.
right. And then if we don't, that the people in the House and Senate would be honest enough to recognize it, regardless of party, and that they would put their foot down.
Right.
But
So
that's
there's
not
all of these tiers, right, of trust being, given to the people who are elected. And unfortunately, since 2016, at every level, almost every level, our government has been failing that test of trust.
right.
And that's bad. That's like it's bad in a way that like you can't even like
Well,
bad doesn't cover it.
and this is
Like
why there were a number of founders that actually wanted to outlaw political parties for that reason.
George Washington,
Right.
he was
And
against the idea of factions.
yeah, and again, because basically once you have factions, like if you have a faction that's so decrepit's not the right word I'm thinking of, but basically so corrupt that basically they're willing to let the president get away with just about anything.
Right.
Um,
And then you end up having people who have a fealty to their faction, a loyalty to their faction that exceeds their loyalty for their country, which is exactly what we have now.
right.
We
The
were
big
warned about this.
yeah the Bob the big beautiful bill it will probably pass, but what will pass in the Senate will be very different than what passes in the House, and then it has to go to conference, and then they basically have to hammer out something that both
All the
chambers
differences.
can vote for.
Yeah.
So thankfully, there's more Republican senators worried about some of the stuff than in the House. So they've already said there are certain things they've already said like flat out, like yeah, that's just not flying. So
I mean, the Senate is a much more deliberative body
even
than the
even
House.
today, even
Uh,
now,
yeah, even now. Like a lot of people might expect it to be the House because of the sheer numbers, that there are going to be a lot of people that would want to look into things deeper or not agree and have a lot of changes, but it doesn't work that way for whatever reason. It doesn't
well,
work that way. It's a
well,
lot more party line. When it gets to the Senate, that's when they start picking stuff apart.
here's the irony of it is that the reason why they made the term so short is that they figured they kind of figured it would be more reactive and less deliberative. That the Senate would be the deliberative body and the House would be the reactive body. But the problem is that and because the thought was well you're running for election constantly almost so that if you fuck up everyone's going to remember and you're going to get voted out of office. But the problem is when you have gerrymandering in districts that make it really safe for one party or the other, you can pretty much do anything. You could
Yeah,
shoot
yeah.
somebody and get
Well,
away
and
with it.
it makes sense too because, like, the House is separated by districts.
Yeah.
And the Senate is by state, the entire state. So you're going to expect a body as large as the House to be a lot more knee jerk
Yes.
because it's just so segmented.
Right.
Like the people in my 5 block district think the rest of you are fucking crazy and you don't deserve to get any, Medicaid or anything. So fuck all of you. I'm voting against this.
Right.
And when it gets to the Senate, the senator from the same state is going to be like, yeah, about that.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And again, that's something was by design because the idea was that the Senate's deliberative and cautious, but the problem is they're worried about but they were worried that if both chambers had a long time, that they wouldn't react quickly enough to things that were happening, to changes in society, in the world, and all that. Um, but like I said, if you didn't have gerrymandering, it was not that it wouldn't be a problem; it would be far less of a
That's
problem
the problem.
but basically you end up with people that never ever have to worry about a challenge because their district is so sewn up
And
that
another thing to remember too is the only reason why that right now the House is in the hands of the Republicans is because Florida redistricted their entire state and it flipped it from being purpley to deep red.
right.
It wasn't before. And it wasn't like
Well,
some magical change. Oh my God, everybody in Florida became right winger. No, they didn't. It was redistricted in order to vote that way.
and the
So
worst of it is this was and the worst of it is it was the second time because after it always every place gets redistricted after a census. It usually takes about 2 years for the process. They did after they had redistricted, they did it again. And the thing is that the courts have ruled multiple times, while you can't gerrymander in order to disadvantage like minorities and stuff like that, doing it for political bias was perfectly fine.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, look, so during the election, it was like over and over and over again. You kept hearing them say, this is a brand new district for Florida, and oh, it went for Trump. Oh,
yeah.
this is another brand new district for Florida, and it went. So all of these brand new districts have brand new um representatives. These are now brand new representatives that are now brand new to the government that are all Trumpers that
Well,
they weren't
the
there
other thing,
before.
the other thing too that gets me with the both siders. So, because of course, it's always funny when people are doing the both sides, and particularly if they're on the right side, but on the right wing, but they're trying to like cover for the right wing, and they'll point out it's like there's two districts in Chicago that are heavily gerrymandered, and they're like, well, see, the Democrats are just as bad, so you can't say anything until you look at the details. So then when you look at it, so basically what it is it's like there's one district that's shaped like this, and there's another district that kind of goes around it.
Right.
Like, oh, see, that's so weird. Well, what they did was both of them are blue districts. They could have had. There would have been two blue districts regardless. What they did was they said, okay, this is a predominantly black district, and this is a predominantly Hispanic district. So this way, they're more likely to get a representative from their own community, as
Right.
opposed to having something that's split black and and that might be more contentious. That's it. That's
That's
so
it.
so that's the big sin of the Democrats and gerrymandering was basically making sure that two ethnic minorities each got their own district instead of just mashing it together and making two mixed districts.
Right.
Meanwhile, the Republicans do it, and they basically try to box out, and they try to put just enough black people in this district, and just so they can cut them out of this district, and just
Well,
and
I mean, one thing I noticed is, Republicans are a lot like a lot of child molesters. There's a lot in common there. They both accuse other people of things that they're doing. They're both right wingers. Um, they're both typically white Christian men. And they're both typically, yeah, Republicans. I said that already, but yeah, it bears repeating. Um,
right.
I mean, quite often when you're talking about these two very different and distinct groups, oftentimes the Venn diagram is a circle. So, I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
the unity set, and in
yeah,
those rare instances, they're not Christian. They are, they're atheists, but they're libertarians.
the
Looking
libertarian.
at you, Eagle Eye, 1975. You're gonna be in jail for 75 more fucking years, motherfucker.
Unbelievable.
And what gets me,
The
Bob.
motherfucker, I shared the meme today. You shared it too. The guy dude was going to drag time story hour things and like protesting against it, saying that drag queens are sexually abusing children. He was arrested for sexually abusing 5 kids.
Yeah.
It's like the accusation's always an admission of guilt.
Well, okay. Well, here's. So I mentioned Eagle Eye. So now, remember Bob Wallace?
Yes.
You be like a real cool dude, kind of a leftist, pro Bernie
Yeah.
guy,
Not anymore. Yeah.
total Trumper. And what gets me is that he went down the QAnon route because Eagle Eye brought him down that route. And the Democrats are pederast. And then it turns out Eagle Eye
Eagle Eye got
was a
arrested. Yeah.
fucking child molester. And then after that, I'm like, Bob. So I remember he used to show up in some of these things and troll. And I'm like, hey, dumbass, the fucking guy who convinced you to go to QAnon and that the Democrats were pedophiles was a fucking
Was a
pedophile.
pedophile.
And you followed him and you listened to him and you're still listening to what he told you. How fucked up are you?
Yep.
Because to me, if I thought somebody was cool and smart and was telling me stuff, and then I would go in the room and I found out they were a pedophile, I would immediately
Back it
rethink
up.
everything that I thought.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's the way it should work, right? Then you start backing up, going, wait, what?
Right. The guy that told me the other guys were pedophiles was the pedophile.
Every accusation is an admission of guilt.
Yeah.
It's almost every friggin' day.
Well,
Like from the beginning of the year, it's like almost every day there's another one. It's just like, and it's always either a Republican, many times in office, or a member of clergy.
right,
It's like,
right.
come on.
Well, I'm sure you've seen me post it many times. I'm like, these people project so much they could each run a 20 seat screen movie theater.
Seriously. Yeah, dude is projecting so much, he's shown the entire Marvel series. I mean, yeah, that's like 20 years worth of movies.
Yeah. 130 movies. Yeah, I just, and what bothers me the most is that no matter how much we push back on that, it keeps happening. And especially like the whole thing of like gay people as child diddlers, that was around for a long time. It seemed like society had finally moved away from that. And now it's just right back where it was.
Well, that's Christian propaganda. I mean, that was, that is by design. That was the Russian interference. That's right wing says, oh, the Russian interference, they didn't interfere. Well, they interfered in our society. They paid for and designed and all of this, like, social media stuff that was designed to convince people of things that aren't true. and they went after easy targets, LGBT people, T people specifically, you know, and it's just it's propaganda. It's what
And
it
it's
is,
such a, and
and
it's
it
such a
worked.
and it's a tiny demographic.
Yeah, yeah, such a tiny demographic.
And then they'll say, "Oh, the left is obsessed with trans people." Like, no, you guys are. You guys are the ones passing laws about it. We're not.
Yeah, well, that's the
We're just
thing. Like
trying to.
the whole part of the whole thing about being trans, at least, and I number one, I cannot speak for every trans person, but like the whole basic understanding since way before I transitioned was the idea is that you transition and then nobody knows you're trans,
Right.
right? You just shut up and get on with your life. That's the whole point. Somewhere along the line, and yes, there are plenty of trans people that are social media influencers that make being trans their entire identity. Um, and they go out of their way to be discriminated against so they can put it online and monetize their pain and make money. And by the way, if you like my content and you like what I do here, the link for Patreon is down in the description. Consider becoming a patron and help me pay the contractor. Fuck.
Mm, wow.
Anyway, I had to get that commercial in. Did you
Course.
see my video? Did you see my video for the Patreon? I posted it on. You didn't see it? I'm gonna play it now. It's. I had an AI song made about giving me money.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Oh wait. Oh, you didn't see it. I gotta. This was fantastic. I thought this was really cute. Where is it? Of course, it's got my Raven J intro on it because yeah, I had to. But yeah, here. Check this out.
Scrolling through my feed, what do I see? All my hard work, where's the loyalty? You enjoy my vibes, my laughter, my grind. But when it comes to cash, I'm left behind.
I'm pouring out my heart, sharing every dream. But bills gotta get paid, or so it seems. Don't take me lightly, I'm not just a laugh. Show some respect, let's do the math.
Pay me on Patreon or I'll beat you up. I'm just a click away, so fill my cup. Support the vibe, let's make it real. Pay me on Patreon, let's seal the deal. Pay me on Patreon, I'm calling your bluff. Just one little pledge, it ain't that tough.
That is funny as hell. Or I'll beat you up.
That was so much fun.
That is funny. I gotta admit.
So yeah, so someone, anyone, all of you out there, pay me on Patreon or somebody's getting beat the fuck up.
Don't beat me up. I didn't do it.
So I've been like playing with it at work. There's this app called Songer, and you just put in a prompt and it'll make a song for you. Um, and no, I use Songer, James, and it's just so much fun. Like people at work will say something and I'll just type it in as a prompt. I'm like, here's your song.
That's funny.
I figured it'd be fun. I posted it as a video, and I also played it at the beginning of this, as part of the intro, because yeah, I do want people to subscribe to me through Patreon, like to do the whole Patreon thing. Yeah, you know, um, but at the same time, I know there are going to be people be like, "Oh, so eat bigger," or "What are you, Brett Keane?" Um, so if I'm going to ask people to support me on Patreon, I'm gonna have some fun with it too, because why the fuck not?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. At least it's funny.
Right? Oh, God. And
And
the Raven J intro song, also was made on Songer. I got a whole bunch of them. I had one. It was the name of the song is "I Love My Tits." Um, Songer is awesome. If you don't have it, I suggest you just like play with it for a while, just to you know get the feel of it. It's fun. What's the matter, puppy? You are all up my ass tonight.
The puppy loves you. It's puppy.
Yeah. Right.
Love a puppy.
Come on, pup. Come on. Where you going? Where you going? Come on up. Come on up. No, you can't see her. It's too dark. That's you. It's too dark in here to see you. Yeah, can't see her. Puppy. Puppy. Wait, where you going, puppy? Puppy. Puppy. Puppy.
Puppy.
Come on. Come on.
Puppy.
Come on. Nope, she ran away. You've been dabbling with Suno? Was that how you pronounce that? It's probably the same kind of thing. Ah, I don't know. I've been having fun with Songer. It's cool. I saw it advertised on Facebook and I just started playing with it. It's fun. I made all kinds of. I had a whole bunch of them. I made a song on there for my daughter's birthday. Was the other day, um, and that was pretty cute. I made one. It's a country song, and it's like my wife broke down, my dog got stolen, and my truck ran away. Um, that was pretty good too.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had time to do all this stuff, but I don't even have enough time to do the stuff I'm doing.
That's pretty talented then.
Yeah, um,
Well, I
it's
do
a
a,
skill.
I do a lot of it on my phone when I'm just sitting. You know, I work in a school as an aide, which means I have a lot of downtime.
All
If the
right,
kid is on lunch or in class, I'm like, oh, I got nothing to do. So,
that's cool.
yeah.
All right, I need to drop now though. I'm fading fast.
All right, Joe.
You be good.
I'll try. You too. Night. Oh, God, it is so hot. So what are you people up to? Anybody having fun or no? No? Well, it is really fucking hot in here. And I think I am going to shut this down. And I'm going to go get a big bowl of ice cream because honestly, I deserve it. And it's so fucking hot. Have a good night. I will see all of you people on the interwebs. And I'll see some of you in real life. But mostly I see you guys on the interwebs. And, hey, consider becoming a patron. And like I said, I've got a whole bunch of videos in the works, and hopefully I'll get all of those done soon, and that'll be cool. And good night, everybody. Bye.